And we're back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Rosicle. My name's Nathaniel. I'm joined by
Ashley.
Woo! And yeah, we're back with another unboxing video here for the different commander decks. We're a little more zoomed in than I'm used to here, so we're gonna try to keep the angles working for you guys. But if something ends up off camera, just know that for a couple of these, we're down to a different camera because we left our previous camera on a trip. And so we're down a camera for a little bit. But you know what? The show must go on, as they say. And we are here with the second to last, right? Penultimate Tarkir Dragonstorm deck, the Abzan armor. Play defenders and turn toughness into power. So very excited for that. If we turn it on over to the back here, we can see battle your friends with powerful creatures and spectacular spells and commander, yada yada. Alright, Felithar the Steadfast. After an encounter with an ancestral spirit, Felithar began to question the doctrine set forth by Tarkir's ruthless dragon lords. She spearheaded her people's rebellion, defeating a dragon lord and becoming the Abzan Khan. Very exciting.
Neat.
Alright, so let's dive into this. As Ashley pointed out in a couple of videos ago, they have different colored dragon scales, which is cute.
That one came up nice.
And we have show the true spirit of the Abzan. Bum. And this is what you're going to be getting when you open one of these. We're a little zoomed in, but it's fine. Slide everything out. Throw your trash at your beloved fiance. We have the coveted deck box. Does not get better than this. Look how glorious and beautiful it is. Sturdy as can be. That's all I'm ever going to say now that you made fun of
well,
me
because you
making fun
hated
of
on
you.
them so hard, you don't store them on anything else but the box.
They're just paper.
Yeah. If you rip it, it'll probably sound just like a magic card.
Probably very similar. We have the truly coveted and what everyone looks forward to, Collector Booster Sample Pack, which we'll get to at the end of the video. And the deck itself. With some pop-outs that we're not going to use, so toss that at your fiancé.
Jesus, he actually threw it at me, you guys.
I did actually toss it that time. Isn't that crazy?
And I was really thinking you weren't going to this time. I was getting so good at trusting you.
I'm so sorry. It was a light throw.
It was still a throw.
It was a toss. It was a toss. But yeah, so before we jump into things here, we'll show off our sleeve color in a moment, and we will also read our Abzan Armor Commander Deck Manual.
Woo!
Abzan Armor Commander Deck. Here we go, unfolding all of the things. Let's get the lore, because sometimes it's cool. Alright, Felithar the Steadfast. As a loyal officer of the Dragon Lord Dromoka, Felithar never questioned her orders, but after becoming separated from her unit during a battle, Felithar encountered the wandering warrior spirit of Anafinza. Anafinza's knowledge of forbidden ancestral magic intrigued Felithar, kindling a fire of rebellion that led her to completely reject Dromoka's doctrine. Branded as a traitor, Felithar fled with other defectors until eventually forming the core of the rebellion against the Dragon Lords. She valiantly defeated Dromoka and subdued several ancestral maelstroms, solidifying her official promotion to Khan by the newly reformed Abzan. Then we have Baator, Ancestor's Voice. When Baator was summoned from the Storm Nexus ritual, the lost and drifting spirits of the Abzan coalesced into their being. They are a manifestation of loyalty, endurance, and the desire for independence. Baator speaks as a collective we and operates as a combined consciousness of Abzan past and present, leading many in the Abzan to seek out Baator for guidance. Their primary role in the clan is serving as a link between the dead and the living, a medium for ancestral voices and their descendants. The Abzan consider Baator to be part of each of their families.
Okay.
That's pretty interesting. Then we flip it around, and we get playing the deck. Build up your walls and knock your opponents down with durable defense. Felithar the Steadfast turns innocuous defenders and high-toughness creatures into terrifying attackers. Combine her sacrifice ability with Rampart Architect to stack up your wall defenses while filling up your land row. Reanimate your graveyard with Reunion of the House, perfectly combining with your low-power creatures to display the true spirit of the Abzan. If you enlist Baator Ancestor's Voice as your commander, utilize life gain and life loss to buff your creatures and return them from your graveyard. And we'll get into what those look like in a moment, because the very first card, you want to show off our sleeves here?
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
White.
Yep, they're simple. But you know what? It fits the deck.
I said like us.
Simple.
Yeah.
Well, this is not working.
Would you like help?
I might need it, yeah. We'll see. Nope, it opened.
Okay.
We got there. All right. More trash that we won't throw at our beloved fiancés.
Thanks.
And we're going to jump into things, but before we do, we will read Felithar the Steadfast. I'm not even going to bother with dealing with focus right now, as long as it's in the frame.
Nope, it exists.
All right, 1 and an Abzan for a 0/5. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power.
Interesting.
Creatures you control can attack as though they didn't have Defender, and you can pay 3, tap, sacrifice another creature, draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness, then discard cards equal to its power.
Interesting.
So you can pay 3, tap, sack, and hopefully draw a bunch, discard not a whole lot. We love having draw engines on commanders.
Thanks.
Great. Then we're going to take our... The stickiness of the back of a playmat. We need to just get like a bland one that we can use.
Yeah, we haven't done that yet.
All right, we're going to take the back of it. We don't need this token. That's trash. We're going to take a look at our actual tokens that we get here and see what they are. All right, we've got a bird, 1/1 insect flying, death touch, 2/1 inkling flying, so that I know what card that comes from. 1/1 flying, death touch insect, 1/2 reach spider, 1/1 flying bird, 1/1 flying death touch insect, another inkling, another insect, and another spider. Flip it over, we've got a 1/3 defender wall, another inkling, another bird, another wall, another spider, another wall, another inkling, another bird, another wall, and another spider.
Wow. So many tokens.
Well, 20 if you count each side.
Facts.
Then we're going to take the Rollsicle Classic guess at where the basic lands stop. I'm going to say right there. That's a plains, and that's also a plains. Dang. That's also a plains. And a plains. Oh, wow. He was way off. He was way off. And there we go. I was like, ooh, that's not a plains. I was like 4 off or something.
Wow, terrible.
All right, I think at this point we've shown off all of the lands. I'm not 100% sure, but have we had green yet? Yeah, we did.
We've had all the colors.
Yeah, we've had all the colors, but if you haven't noticed them yet, those are our 2 plains. Then we'll get over here. These are our 2 swamps. And these are the 2 forests. Looking nice as ever.
So cool.
There we go. Plop.
Thanks.
Into the deck proper. Hopefully we'll start out with some lands here. We do a Radiant Grove. Green-white has your land types, enters taps, nothing crazy. Path of Ancestry, Scry if it shares a type with your commander, and it's basically an enters tapped command tower. What is it? Deceptive Landscape. Tap, add a colorless, tap, sack it. Oh, this is the search for one of the Abzan basic lands, essentially, and you can cycle it for Abzan. Bajuka Bog for some graveyard hate. Exile target player's graveyard when it enters. We have Access Tunnel. This one's interesting. This one's really good for this deck, basically, right? So it's a cheaper... Oh, Lord. Rogue's Passage, I think is what it's called, where you pay 4 tap and it can't be blocked. This is 3 tap and it can't be blocked, but it has to be a creature with power 3 or less. But all our massive defenders are going to be getting through with power 3 or less and then hitting like a truck because they've got that big old bottom. What?
I love you.
Walking Bulwark. 1 mana, 0/3 defender. 2 mana, until end of turn, target creature with defender gains haste, can attack as though it didn't have defender, and assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. Activate only as a sorcery. I don't know why you really need this effect if your commander's doing what your commander wants, but I guess you could start out doing it pretty early on, so there's that.
I think that's the point.
We have Swiftfoot Boots, which, you know, this is worth a little something. It's a poor man's Lightning Greaves, right? And it gives better because it gives hexproof, but it does cost 1 to equip. Celestia Signet. I don't know if this is what Celestia Signet always looks like, but I think it's pretty. Look at that. I don't know if I've seen a Celestia Signet now that that might be our only one we own.
Yeah.
Orzhov Signet. Seen this plenty of times, but there you go. It's the Signet for Orzhov. We have Crashing Drawbridge. This is a 2 mana 0/4 defender. Tap, creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. It's pretty interesting. We will set these off to the side so that Ashley has more access to them, and so they might not bog up the focus.
Okay.
All right. Indulging Patrician. I hope I'm saying that like. Alright, one white and a black vampire noble, flying lifelink 1/4. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain 3 or more life this turn, each opponent loses 3 life. That's pretty cool. We have Despark, pretty good removal spell in Orzhov. Exile target permanent with mana value 4 or greater. Honestly, I have a couple of decks with that in it, and I always feel like what I need to remove at the time is always mana value like less than 4. But it's fine. Wall of Roots, 0/5 defender for 2. Put a -0/-1 counter on this creature, and you can add a green. Activate only once each turn. It's pretty interesting. Wall of Blossoms, 1 and a green defender. When this creature enters, draw a card. Tower Defense, 1 and a green. Creatures you control get +0/+5 and gain reach until end of turn. So as long as your commander's out, this acts as a 2 mana +5/+5 almost, essentially, which is pretty solid. And gain reach. Sandstep Citadel is just the Abzan tap land. Then we have Overgrown Battlement, 1 and a green, 0/4 wall defender tap. Add a green for each creature you control with defender. That could definitely get up there. You have a couple walls out. You're going to get a lot of mana off of that.
Oh, yeah.
1 mana, 0/3 defender plant. Whenever a land you control enters, you gain a life. That's probably more for the life-gainy side of the alt commander that we heard about. But
probably.
Who knows? We haven't gotten to that point.
Exactly.
No, stop trying to get back on camera. Be gone. The Pretty Evolving Wilds. So, hopefully you know what Evolving Wilds does. Carven Caryatid, 1/2 green defender, 2/5. When it enters, draw a card. Sure. Not gonna deny drawing cards. 2 and a green defender, 0/3 tap. Add X mana in any combination of colors where X is the number of creatures you control with defender. Wow. There's more effects that give you mana for defender creatures than I would have expected. Arboreal Grazer, 1 green, 0/3 Sloth Beast Reach. When this enters, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. Some ramp on a creature. I like it. Did that just say a land? Yeah, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. That's pretty good, actually. Infernal Grasp, 1 and a green, 1 and a black. I don't know why I'm saying 1 and a green. Instant, destroy target creature. You lose 2 life. It's not strictly better murder, but I'm going to play it over murder every single time. Wall of Limbs, 2 and a black, zombie wall defender, 0/3. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. 5 and 2 black, sack this creature. Target player loses X life, where X is this creature's power. It's just in here to be a defender. You could probably sub that out relatively quickly. Feed the Swarm. I like this one. 1 and a black sorcery. Destroy target creature or enchantment your opponent controls. You lose life equal to that permanent's mana value. Hopefully you're not killing something big with that one. Blight Pile, 1 and a black defender, 3/3, 2 and a black tap. Each opponent loses X life, where X is the number of creatures with defender you control. Sure.
Dang.
Let's just rack up the defender payoffs. Behind the scenes, 2 and a black. Creatures you control have Skulk, which says they can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. That kind of goes crazy.
With walls?
Well, and the thing is that it doesn't make their power equal to their toughness. They just assign damage equal to it. So this basically says your creatures are unblockable in this deck. Yeah. This is insane. 4 and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. You're not going to want to do that at all. So this is purely in there to say my creatures can't be blocked in this deck, which is honestly crazy. That's such a good card in this deck. Wingmantle. Oh God. Chaplain. I don't know. 3 and a white. Chaplain?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't announce that. You don't pronounce the A.
No.
Chaplain. I said that as one of my options. I did.
Okay.
I think.
You said Chaplain.
Yeah, it's close enough. Look, the English language says that is pronounced plain, not plin. 0/3 Defender. When this creature enters, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying for each creature with Defender you control. Whenever another creature you control with Defender enters, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. No wonder we had so many of those tokens.
Fact.
This Wingmantle Chaplain's doing it all.
Chaplain, I'm dead.
Wall of Omens, 1 and a white defender, 0/4. When this creature enters, draw a card. Like, in this deck, as long as your commander's out, this is what's crazy to me. These cards are functionally like 2 mana 4/4s that draw you a card. That's so good. This deck has made so many, like, crappy walls
so good.
so much better. Swords to Plowshares is one of the best removal. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to that creature's power. Slaughter the Strong. 1 and 2 white. Each player chooses any number of creatures they control with total power 4 or less. Then sacrifices all other creatures they control. So this is essentially, hopefully for you, a 1-mana board wipe. You just choose a bunch of 0 power things. Keep your whole board. And then everybody else's board almost wipes completely. It doesn't quite, but almost wipes completely. What a card for this deck. I'm enjoying this. I want to play this deck. Nyx Fleece Ram, 1 and a white, 0/5. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 1 life. I mean, sure. The Coveted Command Tower. I think these look so pretty. I'm glad I own 5 of them. Or we own 5 of them. The Soul Ring also looks pretty. I'm glad we own 5 of them. The Arcane Signet, already knew it was coming. It looks pretty. I'm glad we own 5 of them. They probably won't, for the rest of our lives, stay in these decks because they look so pretty.
They're going in our decks.
Well, if I build a dragon deck, I'm definitely stealing the dragon-themed Arcane Signet. And maybe even the dragon-ish themed Command Tower. Woodland Cemetery. Enters tapped unless you control a swamp or a forest is pretty good. This is the filter. Help me out here. Green and black. Golgari? Golgari land. We have the Temple for Orzhov, so that's a scry land. Those ones come out pretty quickly if you're upgrading the deck. Here we have the scry land for Celestia, also can come out pretty quickly if you're upgrading the deck. Scry land for Golgari, so again, this set of 3 temples could probably come out. It's a little disappointing because the other mana bases were really good, but maybe they had those in them as well.
I think they did.
Slander's taps unless you control forest or plains is pretty good. Then we have the Signet Celestia land there. Ashley hates those.
I do.
Lanier's tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. That's actually really good because it's just 2 or more other lands. You just don't want it early on, right? But you're perfectly fine to play it as your 3rd land.
Exactly.
This Lanier's tapped unless you control a plains or a swamp. Still pretty good. Enters, you may reveal Fortified Village. You may reveal a forest or plains card from your hand. If you don't, it enters tapped. So you have to reveal. This is a reveal forest or plains land. Exotic Orchard. Tapped, add a color of any color an opponent's land could produce. Slayer is tapped unless you control 2 or more basic lands. Not as good as enters tapped unless you control 2 lands.
Yeah.
Weathered Sentinels, 2/5, Defender, Vigilance, Reach, Trample for 3. This creature can attack players who attacked you during their last turn as though it didn't have Defender. Whenever this creature attacks, it gets +3/+3 and gains Indestructible until the end of turn.
Dang.
Well, honestly, it's really good in every other deck that doesn't even give them the ability to attack. In this, we're just kind of doubling features there. But
exactly.
Hey, you know, we're not going to hate on it. 3-mana artifact, Staff of Completion. Artifact, you can tap it and pay 1 life to destroy target permanent you own. You can tap it and pay 2 life to add 1 mana of any color. You can tap it and pay 3 life to proliferate. You can tap it and pay 4 life to draw a card, or you can pay 5 to untap this artifact. That's gotta be pretty broken with something because of its untap ability.
Probably.
I'm sure there's some way that you can make this artifact have, like, reduce its activated ability cost by 5, so then you can untap it for free, so then there's gotta be something. But you know what? It seems fine. I don't know why it's in this deck, but it seems fine. Kolfiner's Urn. 3 mana. Whenever a creature with toughness 4 or greater is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, you may exile it. At the beginning of the next in-step, if 3 or more cards have been exiled with this artifact, sacrifice it. If you do, return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. Oh, that's pretty cool.
That is.
It's like in the long run, eventually I'll get them back sort of thing. This is another version of Sidar. Sidar, Condo of Jamora.
Huh.
2, a green and a white. I wonder if Sidar is just the name for like a knight. I don't know. Legendary creature, Human Knight. This one has flanking. Whenever a creature without flanking blocks this creature, the blocking creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Creatures your opponents control without flying or reach can't block creatures with power 2 or less.
Huh.
And then it's got partner. So this basically says unless they have flying or reach, your walls that you're attacking with are unblockable.
Yeah.
Then we have Shadrix Silverquill. 3, a white and a black, Elder Dragon, 2/5, flying double strike. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose 2. Each mode must target a different player. Target player creates a 2/1 white and black Inkling creature token with flying. I lied. Apparently that's where the Inklings are coming from. I thought it was going to be from that one card that says, like, for each damage you would have taken, you create an Inkling instead. I forget the name of it.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Target player draws a card and loses 1 life, and target player puts a +1/+1 counter on each creature they control. Yeah, so you can kind of help somebody out here. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have to choose 2? It doesn't say you may choose up to 2. It says you may choose 2. That's interesting. So you might have to choose someone else. Fey Burrow Elder, 1, a green and a white, Vigilance 0/0. This creature gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. For each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not great, actually. No. It's a 3-color deck, so if you have a green, a white, and a black permanent out, this taps for 3, which is pretty good. Like, that's why it's a good card.
But, like,
but this is what you want to have in a deck that has probably 4 or 5 colors, right? But I don't know. It's fine. It's not... It's fine. Dragon Lord Dramoka. This was actually a really expensive card before it got a reprint. 4 green and a white, 5/7. This spell can't be countered. Flying Lifelink, Elder Dragon. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Which also, basically, for the record, in a subcategory also says your spells can't be countered because they can't cast the spells to counter your spells.
Exactly.
Although if they have a way to counter it off of an ability or something like that, then they could. Anguished Unmaking. 1, a white and a black. Exile target non-land permanent. You lose 3 life. This is significantly better than Dispark, even though it only costs 1 more. Because you're not limited to...
what you can destroy.
Yeah. An interesting point to be made there. Towering Titan. 4 and 2 green, 0/0. This creature enters with X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the total toughness of other creatures you control. Sacrifice a creature with Defender. All creatures gain Trample until end of turn. That is interesting. Sylvan Caryatid. 1 and a green, Defender, Hexproof, 0/3 that taps to add 1 mana of any color. Seedborn Muse. This is also a fairly expensive reprint. Seedborn Muse is on the Game Changer list now, I think, right? I'm like 90% sure. 3 and 2 green, 2/4. You untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step, which is, you know, particularly powerful if you have, like, activated abilities that require tapping. Like your commander's Sack a Defender ability. Just wanted to put that out there. I don't think it's worthy of being on the Game Changer list, but I do think it's a very powerful card. Hornet's Nest, Defender 0/2. Whenever this creature is dealt damage, create that many 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and death touch. Pretty solid. Makes people not want to attack you, that's for sure. Assault Formation, 1 and a green enchantment. Each creature you control assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So this just repeats what your commander does, but I guess it's in case you don't have your commander. Tap for a green. Target creature with Defender can attack this turn as though it didn't have Defender. Tap 2 and a green. Creatures you control get +0/+1 until end of turn. It's not bad. It's a little bit of insurance that your commander, even if they should go away, that you're still able to do your stuff. Arasta of the Endless Web. Are you still looking up that Game Changer?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
We are bright today. Arasta of the Endless Web. 2 and 2 green. Reach, 3/5. Legendary enchantment creature spider. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/2 green spider creature token with reach. Pretty cool. We have good old Zatalpa, Primal Dawn. Because it's a... What do you do with this thing?
It is on the Game Changer list.
It is, that's what I thought. 6 and 2 white legendary creature Elder Dinosaur 4/8 with, here we go, flying, double strike, vigilance, trample, and indestructible. It's good old keyword soup here. Although it doesn't have as many as Sire of 7 Deaths, I don't think. Because I think Sire of 7 Deaths has 7 keywords, because that's the whole gimmick. Is that it's a 7 mana with 7 keywords, it's a 7/7, like everything about it is 7.
Got it, that makes sense.
Welcoming Vampire, 2 and a white, flying 2/3 Vampire. Whenever one or more other creatures you control with power 2 or less enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Pretty good. Wall of Reverence, 3 and a white, Spirit Wall Defender with flying. At the beginning of your instep, you may gain life equal to the power of target creature you control.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're not going to have a ton of high power creatures, though. So now it's in here as a 4 mana, basically 6/6 flyer for what it's worth, because
True.
if you can get it to use its toughness as its combat damage. Wakestone Gargoyle, 3 and a white, 3/4 Defender flying. 1 and a white, creatures you control with Defender can attack this turn as though they didn't have Defender. I do like how this deck, like, I don't want to double up on commander effects too much, but I do like how this deck still includes some ways to get those effects
Yeah.
on these creatures, just in case your commander gets removed. So you're not in this situation where, like, your commander's been removed, and so now your whole game plan's just over.
Me.
Like, it just does nothing.
I don't make clues. I get screwed.
Shalai, Voice of Plenty, 3 and a white, 3/4 flying. You, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof. You can pay 4 and 2 green to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Giving everything you have hexproof is pretty solid.
That is.
Rock's Faithmender, 3 and a white, Rhino Monk, 1/5 lifelink. If you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. This is fine because this is a 4 mana 5/5 in this deck.
Yeah.
But really, that ability wants to be in a life gain deck, and maybe that's what our alternate commander really wants.
It might be. We're about to see.
Indomitable Ancients, 2 and 2 white. Oh, this is pretty simple. Look at this. This is what we call a vanilla creature, guys. 2 and 2 white, Treefolk Warrior. It is a 2/10.
It's gonna hit like a bitch.
This is a 4 mana 10/10 if you have your commander. It's pretty solid. It's hard to beat a 4 mana 10/10 that you can send via a 4 mana 10/10 that you can send via access tunnel and can't be blocked.
Literally.
Expel the Interlopers, 3 and 2 white. Choose a number between 0 and 10. Destroy all creatures with power greater than or equal to the chosen number.
1.
Yeah, this is a pretty powerful card in this deck. This is actually, side note, on Arena. There's an Arena deck that is like power 2 or less is its whole vibe,
Yeah.
and that is sort of, it has this board wipe in it, and it's just so broken because it's one-sided essentially, right? Because they just choose like 2, and now none of their stuff dies, and all your big stuff dies. 4 and 2 white, Human Warrior 0/7. During your turn, each creature assigns combat damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. They have a lot of those effects here. Whenever Baldin attacks up to 100... Whenever Baldin attacks up to 100 target creatures, each get +0/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your hand.
Love it.
Wild.
Hey, you don't know how many tokens you're gonna have?
I love how it says up to 100. Like, that's where we draw the line.
That's how you know you
You
got
can't
a
have
token bag.
101 things getting buffed up. You need to have exactly 100.
100.
Oh my god. Ikra Shadiki the Usurper. I'm gonna go with that.
Okay.
Ikra Shadiki the Usurper. 3 and a Golgari, legendary creature, Snake Wizard, 3/7 Menace. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness. Oh, that would be pretty brutal. Oh, you get it. It has partner, and so does
Sidar.
the other Sidar. So you could run Sidar and this if you wanted to as the commanders. I don't think it would be ideal, but
No.
Tree of Redemption,
But it could
3 and a
happen.
green, Defender, 0/13, tap. Exchange your life total with this creature's toughness.
Huh.
So if you go below 13, tap. Now you go to 13.
13.
Or if you
Imagine
have
being a 1 and you pull this card.
or if you have like the dude with the white that buffs
Yeah.
the toughness, you can attack, make this thing like a 20 or 30 toughness, tap it while its toughness is 20 or 30, and then go to 20 or 30. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
I feel like you could do some cool things with that. You could definitely do some cool things with that. Whenever this creature, 3 and a green, whenever this creature enters or attacks, create a 1/3 white wall creature token with Defender. Whenever a creature you control with Defender dies, you may search your library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Nice. Ramp for every time a Defender dies. That's pretty good. It doesn't say non-token either, so you can do it when the walls die. Canopy Gargantuan, 5 and 2 green dragon 7/7 flying ward 2. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a number of +1/+1 counters on each other creature you control equal to that creature's toughness.
Huh.
What? At the beginning of your upkeep. So if you just have like a 3/8, you're going to put 8 +1/+1 counters on every other creature. Or you're going to put a number equal to its toughness. That makes your board get so big so quickly.
That's crazy.
That is insane. Arbor Adherent, 3 and a green. Creature, dog, druid. 2/4, tap to add 1 mana of any color. Tap to add X mana of any one color, where X is the greatest toughness among other creatures you control. Oh, that's good. If you've got like a 0/7, you can tap this to add X mana of any one color, which will be 7.
That's crazy.
That's pretty crazy. That's some ramp and a half right there.
Oh, yeah.
Will of the Abzan, 3 and a black. Choose one. If you control a commander... Okay, so this is if you control a commander, you can choose both. 3 and a black. Any number of target opponents each sacrifice a creature with the greatest power among creatures that player controls and lose 3 life.
Wow.
Or return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I mean,
Nice.
that's pretty good value for 4 mana.
It really
if
is.
you have your commander. Tip the scales. 2 and a black. Sacrifice a creature. When you do, all creatures get -X until end of turn, where X is the sacrifice. So this is a really good board wipe. Because again, -X going to get around indestructible.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's not one-sided. You're going to sack your creature and then kill all your own creatures. But, well, it's -X, so you could kill like a 7 toughness thing, and anything with more than 7 toughness would still survive. But you're probably going to kill most of the opponent's boards. This is the card that goes insane with one of the Final Fantasy cards. So, 3 and a black, Jaws of Defeat. Whenever a creature you control enters, target opponent loses life equal to the difference between that creature's power and its toughness. So what happens is you have a creature enter, then this goes on the stack. While it's on the stack, you hit it with that card from Final Fantasy that makes it get -9,999 toughness. And now, when this resolves, the difference between its power and toughness is massive, and it just kills everybody on the board.
Big boy.
Which, I don't own that card, but I would maybe buy it to put in this deck just to know that technically if I pull both of them, I could pull off that combo. Reunion of the House. 5 and 2 white sorcery. Return any number of target creature cards with total power 10 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Okay.
So if you have a bunch of zeros, you can just get them all back.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful.
That is.
Protector of the Wastes. 4 and 2 white flying. When this creature enters or becomes... 5/5. When this creature enters or becomes monstrous, exile up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments controlled by different players. 4 and a white. Monstrosity 3. Nice. So it's some removal baked into a dragon there. I mean, we're not going to complain. And last but not least, it's so pretty. I will give them this much. They stopped doing the thick commander cards, which I have my own complaints about, but they started doing the full art for your commander and Hulk commander, and I think they look so good.
Oh, yeah.
Baitor, Ancestor's Voice, 2 and an Abzan flying, lifelink 3/5. At the beginning of your end step, put up a number of +1/+1 counters on up to 1 other target creature you control equal to the amount of life you gained this turn. Return up to 1 target creature card with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life you lost this turn from your graveyard to the battlefield. Seems like a lot to track, but, hey, sure. That's a really... I think if you build this deck, you're going to build it very differently.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you put this as your commander, you're going to build this deck very, very differently. And there we have it. I think that's the deck, right? It's all empty and gone, so we will bring it back. We missed one of the lands here, so there it is. We didn't have any broken sleeves this time around.
Not this time.
So there we go. We'll give it a... I guess I shouldn't put the commander with it.
No.
A shuffle on camera. We tried to do that. It doesn't always work out, but we're going to do our best to... And... Boom. The first shuffle of the deck. All right. Do you want me to rate first or you rate first?
You can go ahead and rate first.
I am super stoked for this deck. I think it has a lot of upgrade potential. And I'm excited for the fact that I could upgrade this deck with a bunch of crappy cards.
100%.
Because as long as they were just, like, a decent defender,
Oh, yeah.
you know, like, 1 mana 0/4 in this deck is an upgrade. Because later when you pull that from your commander, that's, sure, a 4/4, or if you sack it to the commander's ability, it's a draw 4 cards, like,
Literally.
discard none. That's pretty solid, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really stoked for this. I'd say, honestly, I'm gonna give it an 8.
Fair.
I'm super excited to play this deck. Where does it land for you?
I think we give this one like a 7.5.
Oh, so it's up there.
It is. It really is. I think I'm really scared to play against it, though.
Scared to play against it. So is this gonna be one you play?
Very scared. We'll see. But I'm
We will
scared.
see. All right. Well, I'm excited for it. I think it's going to do really good. We have now opened the deck, if that's all you're here for. Those are our ratings. I give it an 8. Ashley gives it a 7.5, I think is what you said.
Nope.
And now, the coveted, the legendary, the
Collector Booster Sample Pack.
Ugin-filled, Elspeth-filled.
Sure.
What else is good in this set?
Ugin Elspeth.
Well, there's the artifact that you pulled that one time. You know what I'm talking about?
Mox Jasper.
Yeah, there you go. Skadoosh! It's a token. I always do that. I always do the little ad card. Alright, we ready?
Yep.
And skablam. We start out with a Storm Shriek Feral. Alt art and foiled, looking pretty as ever. But
Okay.
it's not worth anything. Alt art, really cool alt art. I love the alt art of this set. But alt art foiled, this common is worth 5 cents.
11.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, it's more than I thought. And Skadooshi. Yeah, no. Corey Steelcutter. I doubt this is worth much. Let's see what it does. 1 in a red. It's the alt art, by the way.
Spell
CORI/STEE.
Got it.
Is the alt art and foiled.
Interesting.
Alt art and foiled. 1 in a red. Artifact equipment. It's an equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and haste. Flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, create a 1/1 white monk creature token with prowess. You may attach this equipment to it, and it has equip 1 and a red.
What do you think?
Alt art and foiled. I'm going to say this comes into 72 cents.
$10.12.
What?
Yeah, it's super popular in standard right now. Corey Steelcutter.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
We watched a video on it, remember?
Did we?
Mm-hmm.
Well, see, this, since we don't play standard, is prime for the selling. Might have to take it in.
We might have to.
But yeah, okay, cool. So it's $10 right now. I mean, it'll be... Okay, that actually doesn't surprise me at all because it gives trample and haste.
Yeah.
And right now, the bane of standard is that one... I think it's like Heartfire Hero or something. It's from Bloomborough. Mm-hmm. And basically what it says is like, when this is targeted, aka you equip it, or when this is targeted, it gives it double strike. So then you combo it with like this and like the Monstrous Rage or whatever it is.
Probably.
And you basically turn it into like an 8/8 with trample, haste, and double strike on like turn 3.
Huh.
It's so hard to beat. It's basically red aggro is so powerful right now. So this version of it is, you said $10, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Look at that crazy value. I think it's foiled. It looks foiled.
It
to
looks
me.
full to me. It's curved.
It's
and
definitely
curled.
foiled. All right, we're gonna get that in a sleeve.
Yep.
Nice and taken care of. We'll hand that off to our lovely fiance off to the side. There's the Storm Shriek. There's the deck. We want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, let us know. But also, we want to know what you think of the deck. Does it land at an 8 or a 7.5 for you guys? Or do you hate this thing and say that it's a 2 and no one should play this? Crappy commander that draws cards, does everything, right? Because I guess some people don't like the whole commander does your whole schmuck thing. I like it, though, because I get to play the commander and go, I'm good. And then someone removes it, and I go, stupid. I feel like I will often be paying 6 and then maybe even 8 for this commander because it will be getting removed, but that's okay. That's fine. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the video. If you had any questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the comment section below. If you liked the video, please leave a like. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, consider doing so. We would love to have you. We are currently, at the time of recording this, at 183, but we could be way past that by the time that this video comes out. And if we aren't or are, you could be the next person to join the Rosicle family, and we'd love to have you. All right, is that everything?
Yeah.
I think that's everything. We'll see you guys in future videos, but until then, may those rolls be ever in your favor. And we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Bye, y'all.